Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 15th. Hope you're well today. Happy hump day. Going to get started here in about 30 seconds with today's live stream and going to go over Hexo's earnings review in detail. I did a video late last night, essentially just going over the highlights and the fact that they missed on estimates. Wanted to keep that video a little shorter and then come on this morning. Going to do a live stream and discussion, so we'll save some time as well for some Q&A. We'll do some analysis. And we'll take a deep dive into the management discussion and analysis as well. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It helps support me in the channel. And you can subscribe, tick the bell to be notified on any future videos. See, we have some people joining us, so welcome to the stream. Gonna get started with today's video. And let us know where you're tuning in from. Hey everyone, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. And I see we have quite a few people joining us already. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. All right, Claudio. Hello, Rod. What will happen if Hexo goes below 100 million market cap? Will they have to make a reverse split to be compliant with the NASDAQ? Well, the reverse split's already been approved. We'll save some time. I'll go over this question at the end of the live stream, but we do have a lot that we need to cover today as well. So we'll jump right into today's content and then we'll save some time at the end. But yes, a reverse split is definitely possible. And again, I see we have quite a few people joining us, so welcome to the stream. I'm going to get started with today's live stream. I'm going to take a look at the deep dive into the financials. I did a video, like I said last night, just a quick highlight and tried to keep that video a little shorter. This one might go a little bit longer, full disclosure, but this is our money that we're working with here. And I'm right there with you. I'm just a regular retail investor. And we'll try and make sense of this as best we can. And I'll try to go through it as quickly as I can. So everything mentioned in this article is in Canadian dollars. Hexo is committed to streamlining our operations across all functions, allowing our top-selling brands to remain competitive in the marketplace while aligning to our long-term financial objectives of becoming cash flow positive and driving growth, said Hexo CEO Charlie Bowman. As we move forward, we remain keenly focused on our financial objectives and taking the necessary steps to achieve them, including maintaining a lean organization and concentrating on operational excellence. So go through the financial results and events. April 12, 2022, Hexo entered into definitive agreement with Tilray. We already know that. I went over that video in detail yesterday as well. They added the amendments. If you haven't seen that video, you can check out the amendment video. The notes and the maturity will be extended by 3 years, which we already know. Concurrent with definitive agreement, so they have the backstop, which was amended as well. Hexo feels that that's in their favor. Again, I mentioned all that in the video. You can check it out. During the quarter, management announced the closure of centralized processing and manufacturing facility in Belleville, Ontario. And that I mentioned in my video from yesterday and the 8-minute video there on Hexo earnings. They had impairment charges. That it makes sense because it was for Belleville. So when they were closing Belleville, they closed Belleville to, they're now using Redecan's facilities. So they're moving all of the stuff that was in Belleville over to the Redecan facility, and they're going to save money that way. And also, Trust got its own license. So it's going to be operating in that building. Trust stays there, right? Molson Coors JV. And they're going to be moving everything over to Redecan and I think the Ontario facility as well. The decommissioning and phase-out process is expected to be finalized by the end of July 2022. So it hasn't even happened yet. All of these things take time, right? So we're getting hit with the impairments now, but these things take time to realize. So we're not seeing anything reflected in the financials of any of these cost savings because it's going to take some time. It hasn't even finalized until the end of next month, right? So it's probably going to be a couple quarters before we see the benefit of this. They've also decreased their headcount, I think they said, by 450 people. So again, it's going to take it's going to take a while before we see, those cost savings and things like that and synergies from the deal with Tilray. But essentially, this ER was for February, March, and April. And we know that not just Hexo, but even Tilray and CGC, their revenue quarter over quarter has been declining quite a bit. So it's not just Hexo, but we'll continue on. The company has begun to transition these operations over to existing sites to further streamline operations and capitalize on production efficiencies. Net sales decreased 14% quarter over quarter. Again, very similar to what Tilray and Canopy, some of our large caps. But again, I think that's going to change over the next few months when we head into a recession. We know gas prices are astronomically high, and people aren't going to opt for that $200 ounce anymore if they're struggling to make ends meet, right? So it could bring back some market share for the tier ones. And this is led by the reduction of the international and adult use sales, which they mention later on as well, which we'll probably dive deep into it depending on the time here. Total impairment losses of 83 million were recognized in Q3 2022 because it's in thousands, pertaining to the company's property, plant, and equipment due to the above Belleville closure. So again, that impairment charge was for Belleville, so it makes sense. And due to the new estimated recoverable amounts of certain redundant assets, loss of operations improved of 80% quarter over quarter. So again, I mentioned that in my video from yesterday as well. EPS was only the real thing that improved, but still missed estimates by quite a bit, but it was way better than last quarter, 80% better. As a result of the Q2 2022 realignment of the balance sheet and the $616 million of the previously recognized impairments to goodwill, intangible assets, and property, plant, and equipment. And I think I read that they had absolutely no goodwill at the moment after all of this. 34 million of total senior secured notes redemptions occurred during the quarter, resulting in the issuance of 72 million common shares. So that's where all the shares came from. So obviously that debt, they had to do debt redemptions every month. Those terms were bad because they were super dilutive to the company. Yes, there's going to be some dilution from Chaos. There's going to be, Adam Arviv. There's going to be some dilution from Tilray, but that's until they actually convert into shares, right? It's just going to be convertible debt. So Tilray may wait, a year to 2 years, as they will want to benefit on the appreciation of the stock appreciation, the price appreciation of Hexo, right? So I don't think they're going to want to, be selling or anything like that. I think they're going to be pretty friendly, all things considered. The loss in the company's senior secured note. But before I go into this, actually, they started off they offered Hexo $2 or $3. I mentioned that in my video as well. I already did a video, so I won't go into that in detail, but they offered Hexo in November $2 to $3 a share. And they started off, kind of just approaching them, asking them if they wanted to make a deal, and Hexo refused. And now it seems like they're taking a little bit more of a hostile approach. But I would say that, High Trail, we've got Tilray, we've got Redican, we've got Chaos Capital. They're all working on the same team now, and they all seem pretty friendly and willing to work together. And we know that they've waived quite a few different clauses and things like that. The loss of the company's senior secured note was reduced by $61 million due to the less volatility of the valuation approach. The senior secured note continues to be valued at the default demand amount of 115% of outstanding principal. The company's total assets for the sale increased to $22 million from $13 million of the previous quarter as a result of closing operations of certain previously announced cultivation and research facilities, as well as a manufacturing facility. Subsequent to the quarter end and concurrent with transformation of the company's management structure, Hexo appointed Joël Moret, former assistant general counsel, who joined the organization in April 2018 and general counsel of corporate secretary effective June 15, 2022. The company would like to thank departing general counsel Roch Vaillancourt for his contributions and dedication to Hexo through his pivotal period. I don't think this is new either. I think they mentioned that he'd be on his way out a couple of, maybe it was on the last earnings, but it just took a little bit of a transition period. It looks like Mr. Vaillancourt will remain with the company in the advisory role through to July 1st, 2022 to facilitate a smooth transition. So I already went over they missed on their estimates, both on EPS and revenue. Their adjusted EBITDA was negative 18.3 million, and they've since revised some of their guidance. They said that they're going to be profitable within the next 4 quarters. That's looking like it may be stretch out into 2023, but not the end of the world, in my opinion. The biggest thing was that this Tilray deal went through. Yesterday, we found out that it was adjourned, and I saw a lot of people were upset saying that, what a sneaky move. I don't think they said that they're going to send another circular around. I think that we're going to have another chance to vote or change our vote. I don't think that they would do that and have the ability to just shoe that in, right? I think they'd have to send another round of circular, which I believe they did mention, which I came across in my my readings, but we'll go through it here a little bit more. So again, this just goes over the details of it. I'm not going to read this in detail. You can go to Hexo's website, click on press releases, and read this in its entirety. I would encourage that you do, to try and kind of understand it all. There's a lot going on. It's very confusing. If you don't want to, that's all fine and dandy. I'll try to pick out the main things. So then they go on about Chaos Capital, a standby agreement. Hexo figures that's better in their favor now. Not so much. Tilray obviously won, right? Tilray came out like bandits after this, and so did Redecan. I mean, Redecan, keep in mind that for that $925 million, only $400 million was in cash. So, you know, they've got quite a bit of breathing room from that cash, but their portion of stock is down dramatically as well, right? And we know that Vincent Chiara, he owns the Toronto Stock Exchange building. He's like one of the biggest prominent real estate operators as well in Quebec. And yeah, the people behind, like Hexo now has Redecan, Chaos Capital, so Adam Arviv. They've got Tilray in, High Trail, another potential CPG partner due any week now. Like, who else wants in on Hexo, right? Like, clearly, Tilray isn't giving up, right? They tried to buy Hexo for $2 or $3 a share in November, and they probably tried to buy Redecan, or they were interested, because that's, in my opinion, why they're so interested in Hexo, is because of the assets that Redecan brings and also the brands that Hexo brings. But yeah, I mean, they wouldn't give up, and then now they're kind of taking a little bit more of a hostile approach, and they're at the driver's seat essentially in this deal, and they're kind of steering the ship here and dictating where, you know, Hexo's kind of just bending the knee, and, you know, at least they didn't sell out. If Hexo goes to a $10 billion market cap or a $25 billion market cap in the next 10 to 20 years, they'll be glad that they still retain some of the business rather than selling out for $2 or $3, you know, which would have been, you know, way less than $1 billion valuation of the company, right? I mean, Redecan, in my opinion, is worth well over $1 billion, and we know Hexo used to be worth about $2 billion at one point. So here's the withdrawal of financial guidance in connection with the strategic plan titled The Path Forward. The company has previously provided guidance regarding its operational synergies and incremental increases to cash flows for the financial years ending July 31st, 2022 and 2023. In light of the number of developments, circumstances, and considerations, including, among others, deteriorating market and macroeconomic conditions, recent changes to the senior management, and the pending transaction with Tilray Brands, Inc., with potential impacts on the company's capital structure and liquidity, Hexo CFO Julius Invax, still don't know how to pronounce his name. Yeah, that must be it. Is embarking on a comprehensive review of the existing organizational and business strategy with a continuing objective of becoming EBITDA and cash flow positive. That hasn't wavered. The company now believes that it will not achieve the synergies and incremental cash flow increases to the level estimated in the previous guidance, and it expects such figures and measures to be lower than previously guided. Probably for the best, right? We don't want to be shooting for the stars here. Let's just kind of, you know, take it one step at a time. We don't need to paint a turd at the moment, right? Let's be honest. Hexo's got some issues, but again, I'd be super worried about Hexo if the rest of the MJ was flourishing, right? But there's even companies that have strong fundamentals and strong numbers and strong, you know, financials, and they're doing terrible, right? It's just the kind of the hand that we're dealt. Consequently, the company announces that it's entirely withdrawing its previously issued guidance on operational synergies and expected incremental cash flows for the 2022 and 2023 financial years, and there can be no assurance that the company will be, in the future, decide to provide any guidance whatsoever with respect to any operational, financial, or other measure. So don't expect anything anytime soon from Hexo. So it just goes on about forward-looking statements. We'll dive into the MD&A, the management discussion and analysis document here as well. And they got this wrong. I'm not sure what they're talking about here. They missed on EPS, was negative 0.34. But again, huge increase in improvement from negative 1.94 last quarter, 80% improvement. They did miss on revenues, but again, they've been declining the last few quarters. But so is Tilray, right? 210, 196, 189, even though sales in Canada have been increasing, rec sales. But again, I expect that tier ones are going to claw back some of that market share leading into a recession when bills are tight, times are tough, you know, gas and food is insanely high. We know Hexo has amazing quality and cheap prices. So great products, great quality products, and great prices, even better prices, right? So again, not uncommon. If we just take a look at CGC and we check, again, this is all the major LPs are seeing this right now. And I think that we're going to see some clawback from the smaller caps. There's already some companies that are starting to go bankrupt. They're the smaller companies. We don't need over 800 producers in Canada. And Neptune even got out of the MJ space as well. But look at Canopy's results, right? 87 million last quarter. This is US, keep in mind. But 87 million under 100 million US and down from 111 million the prior quarter. So it's kind of the common theme. And keep in mind, it was for February, March, and April. April sales were actually pretty good. Like, what more can you really ask for, right? Hexo's number one as per Hi-Fire and BNN Bloomberg. This is the data from Hi-Fire reported by David George Kosh and BNN Bloomberg. But I mean, what more can you ask for, right? We're on the right trajectory, and Oxy was climbing in the ranks, but they're since losing a little bit of market share, right? And then we know that some of our smaller companies are likely going to go the way of the dodo, as everybody likes to make that reference. And again, it's not that, I want anybody to go to zero or anything like that. I'm not saying that to boost up any other companies. I'm just saying that it's realistic. We don't need over 800 people, companies, producers in Canada. Just quite evident that is not needed in a population of just over 30 million. So taking a look here at Fintel. So there has been, just taking a look at the institutional shares. So there's an ownership. So 127 total, 118 are long only, 0 are short only, and 9 are long/short. So a combination of both. If we take a look though, we can see here that MJ Alternative Harvest ETF purchased, looks like 30 million shares. And I went over to the ETF and confirmed this. So Hexo, 30 million valued at about 19.1 million. And does that match up? Yeah, 19.1 million. Goldman Sachs is buying as well, it looks like. And again, nothing in the world really happens without Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and, those big financial institutions. But it's not the only time. Hudson Bay Capital, 27 million. So we're starting to see some volume pick up here. And if we take a look at the MJ ETF, they're holding a ton of Tilray, 74 million. Canopy, 55 million. Sundial, 54 million. Kronos, 44. Grow Generation, 42. Aurora, still 39 million. Wow. High Tide, they just had really good earnings. Not so much EPS, but revenues increasing quarter over quarter compared to High Tide, the retailer. Canna Cabana, 21 million there. Village Farms, 19, and Hexo at 19.1 million. Also, if you take a look at the trend for Hexo, you can see its top was trending in Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, British Columbia, but it's just been on a straight downtrend, right? Just looks like the trend of the searches looks like the actual chart, right? Just monthly downtrend, lower highs and lower lows. And then if we take a look at shortdata.ca, you can see here that the regular volume versus the short volume, we're starting, look where we were back here when the volume started to skyrocket. That was back in the 2018 peak. And then the volume started picking up here in 2020, leading into that nice big run up that we had into 2021. And so did the short volume. So now we're starting to see a bit of an uptrend here on the regular volume with a high, low, higher low, and higher high, right? And that's good to see in my opinion. Short trade analysis and short trade dollar volume are pretty much at record lows. We're sitting at around 8.9 million. And the lowest we have is really down in the 4s. See what this one is here. Yeah, pretty much down in the 4s. So we're pretty much at all-time low in terms of that. But MJ business leaders urge government to review excise taxes as prices decline. That's another thing that is really hurting LPs as well, as the amount of excise taxes. So that is something that has been discussed, and it's been something that people are working on. We know Thailand is in the process of decriminalizing and legalizing. Germany speeds up its process to legalize recreational MJ. Malta as well, and likely just a matter of time for the rest of the EU. And we know Sweden, I think it was going to trial a type of recreational trial this summer as well. Also leading into the fall, New York recreational MJ sales likely to begin, the state regulator says. So lots of, and we know that safe banking could potentially find. So again, basically if Hexo and rest of MJ can survive, right? I know SNDL's under risk of a reverse split as well. They're actually coming up here in August, but I think they have a shareholder meeting in July to vote to do a reverse split. So that'll be kind of our gauge and benchmark for Hexo, because we know that they've already got an extension. Hexo hasn't received an extension, which they could, which would push their requirements to stay listed until January 25th. But we know Hexo already has approval to do a 14-to-1 reverse split, so they can up to that amount if they want at any point. So again, safe banking. If we see safe banking, New York legalizing, rec sales go live, right? We see Germany, Thailand, Malta, all these other places in the globe, and safe banking. Any other kind of legalization progress, right? We could easily see these stocks shoot up, anywhere from a couple 100% to 500%, which is about 2 to 5 times of their current price, right? And how much more lower are we really going to get? We haven't really been dropping that much comparatively to the broader market in terms of Hexo. Yesterday, we did lose 23 cents, and we were sitting at about 20 cents pre-market, 21 cents, I believe. But the market is in extreme fear. And, we generally don't go straight down forever. So when we're at these extreme levels of fear, which, haven't been seen really since C19 lows in March 2020, we know that it's just a matter of time, right, before we start to at least form a lower high. So I do think that the next couple of months should be positive. Speaking of the market, we do have the interest rate decision coming out today from the Fed, the Federal Reserve, FOMC, and the press conference will be at 2:30 Eastern time. So the interest rate decision comes out at 2 o'clock, and then expect some volatility leading into that point as well. But the most important thing is usually the press conference when Powell comes on and speaks, the Federal Reserve comes on and speaks, and that'll be at 2:30 Eastern time. So we'll look at the MD&A, the management discussion and analysis for the 3 and 9 months ended April 30th, 2022. Let's just take a look actually pre-market here before we dive into that. So yeah, back to 21 cents. So again, not the worst thing. I did have a level here of 20 cents that I'm targeting. You can see here this previous resistance now acting as support, and we've been just downtrending and respecting this white line. But you can see here we are starting to come back out of daily RSI oversold territory, and the MD&A is going to be a little bit longer. So again, this video is going to be a little bit longer, and we'll do some Q&A at the end. I haven't even dove into the MD&A yet, so yeah, we've got a lot of ground to make up here. So we'll try and move things along, but SPY is bouncing. We're up almost 1% here pre-market, and we do have the potential for the daily bounce to get underway today. If we break 377.94 on SPY, the daily bounce is underway, and watch for these potential gaps in the chart to get filled. The gaps are at 389 and 401. So SPY could easily, just from current pre-market levels, could easily jump 3.5% to 6.5% and fill those gaps. Usually all gaps get filled in time. So we'll keep an eye out for those levels to be met and reached. But again, not doing too bad. This thing could lose 20 cents today though. And I mentioned in my video from yesterday that the Tilray deal getting amended, I said likely going to see earnings be less than awesome. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. And we're targeting that 20 cent area. And I said, watch for Tilray to do better than Hexo yesterday, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. Hexo was down 7%. Tilray was up in the green about 1.25%. So again, if anybody does have any input on these earnings, I'm going to go through the management discussion and analysis now. I see we have quite a few people with us. And again, if you do have any questions, I'm going to do some Q&A at the end. We'll see how the community's feeling with regards to these earnings. Obviously, a little bit of a mixed bag, but the impairment was due to the Belleville facility closing. And we knew that all these mergers and acquisitions, right, were going to take time. They're still sorting out the Redecan stuff and closing Belleville because Trust got its own license in May, I think it was. And they're going to be saving money on moving that stuff over to the Redecan facility, right? So it's all good. It's just a means to an end. And unfortunately, the impairment charges are there. It is what it is. But it's going to be a while before we even see the cost savings of that happening, because the facility isn't due to finalize until mid-July, just like the Tilray deal, which means it will probably be a couple of quarters before we see those cost savings on their financials and hit their bottom line. And we know that they did a headcount cut of about 450 people in the company. So downsizing, we know that, Tesla is downsizing its workforce. We know Coinbase just laid off 18%. Like all companies right now are preparing for a recession, right? And I think Hexo is going to be well set up for a recession because it has great products, great quality. They're getting better quality, and the prices keep going down. So it's like recession proof in my opinion. And I think it's going to really make up some ground. So like I said, I see we have quite a few people joining. So let me know what your thoughts are on if you want to vent, let me know the good, the bad. Always love hearing from you if you have any concerns. Somebody mentioned in the POW group community, you know who you are, that it said in the Press Canada, the Canadian press publisher, said that it was going to be, Tilray had the ability to cash out like 50% of their convertible debt, but the deal isn't supposed to close till next month. If anybody knows what they meant by that, I couldn't find that supporting evidence. So I was confused by that too. I don't think it wouldn't really make sense. How could Tilray convert until the deal closes? Like they can't convert until after the deal, right? Like that would only make sense. So this is long. It's 41 pages. We don't need to go through everything, but again, I'll go over some of the highlights here. They just kind of go over the company overview. You talk about innovation and focus on customers and consumers and creating products that people love and want. Headquartered in Gatineau, Quebec, with facilities across North America, we are constantly assessing our product development, cultivation, processing, marketing, and sales practices to offer adult use and medical MJ products, extract derivatives, and accordance with the Cannabis Act, Canada, and globally pursuant to all applicable international regulations. We manufacture and sell CBD powered by HEXO products in 17 states in the U.S. in partnership with Molson Coors, and have taken HEXO international with our medical MJ product offerings. So the strategy and outlook. So they go on to outline the path forward, which is the previous initiative, and it just goes through. We already went through all this. So again, if you want to go to hexocorp.com, click on investors, go to CEDAR filing, and you can see all these documents on the company profile on CEDAR. And then just read this if you haven't already. But it doesn't really mention anything. It just says what the previous plan was. And then it goes into some of the definitive agreement with Tilray. Again, nothing really new. I already covered this in my previous video, so we're not going to go over it again. Commercial agreements. So the commercial agreements will also provide that HEXO pay Tilray brands a monthly fee of US $1.5 million for advisory services with respect to cultivation, operation, and production matters. So again, I think they mentioned that, we mentioned that earlier in the video from yesterday, but essentially it was like $18 million a year. So that adds up $1.5 million a month. And that's going to be per annum. And I would assume that that's as long as this commercial agreement is in place. So as long as they're sharing commercial aspects, and the partnership is still there, then I would assume they pay that ongoing forever until that partnership ceases to exist. In addition to the restructuring of debt, HEXO has also entered agreement with Chaos Capital. Yep. So we already know that, and they amended some of those conditions as well. So HEXO Corp, House of Brands. This is some pretty epic brands if you take a look at the screen here right now. You might be driving or something like that, but you definitely got to pause this and just look at the powerhouse that this thing's building, right? Redican alone, Trail Mix, Re-Up, House of Terpenes, 48 North, Latitude, Namaste, Veryvel, XMG, Little Victory, Molo, Original Stash, Up 20, Bake Sale, HEXO Plus, and HEXO. That's definitely the best brand portfolio in all of the industry. So Trust Beverage Co. Through Trust Beverage Co., our business venture with Molson Coors Canada. I like this portion. We have positioned ourselves to meet the MJ beverage market in Canada head on. Trust is committed to developing and producing a range of MJ beverages that focus on great taste, consistency, and choice for consumers. We currently offer one of the largest portfolios of MJ-infused beverages and extract products in the Canadian market. Trust Beverages products continue to be one of the top MJ beverage market share position in Canada with 25% of total sales. Trust Beverages, produced and distributed from HEXO's Belleville facility. The beverage-related operations were conducted by HEXO through operations of HEXO MJ-infused beverages, or HEXO CIB, under HEXO's licensing before October 1st, 2021, when Trust obtained its own manufacturing and processing license. Under the new arrangement, the company purchases the manufactured goods from Trust LP and sells the beverages through the third parties as a principal in the arrangement. On May 2nd, 2022, Trust received its independent selling license from Health Canada and is expected to operationalize the license in fiscal 2023. So we can expect HEXO to continue to report Trust Canada on their financials until 2023, when Trust is going to essentially report that on their own, right? So that's something to be aware of. HEXO Group of Facilities. This is pretty cool. They've got millions and millions of square feet. So the following provides information about HEXO's consolidated group of facilities as of the date of this MD&A. So Masson, Quebec, corporate headquarters. Cultivation and manufacturing facility. The company's Gatineau, Quebec is its main cultivation facility. 1.3 will round up a million square feet of greenhouse cultivation space. We'll run through this. So that is still operational. License expires October 25th, 2024. We've got Fenwick, Ontario, which is where they're moving some of the Belleville stuff, and approximately 400,000 square feet there. It's where all central administrative functions of Redecan are located, including accounting, purchasing, and quality assurance. The facility is licensed for standard cultivation, standard processing, and sale of medical and adult purposes. And theirs is effective 25th, 2020 to 25th of 2023. So it accounts for Redecan's processing, extraction, bud drying, trimming, bulk bagging, manufacturing, capsule, pre-roll, and packaging, vape filling and packaging, oil bottling and packaging, capsule bottling and packaging. So a lot of stuff going on in that facility. They got Cayuga, Ontario. So crop cycle, primary function of the site and cultivation, annual crops for pre-roll bud. So it looks like that one's still operational. Ottawa, I stopped by that one. I did a video and some posts on that when I was driving across Canada. I stopped at the location in Ottawa, and that's just a 40,000 office space, 40,000 square foot office space in Ottawa, Ontario for administrative and finance functions. Did they close this one? Effingham, Ontario. So it's cultivation activities used for vegetative plant propagation. No, it's still going. So Belleville, 932,000 square feet. And they announced the closing of Belleville facility and the intention to shift manufacturing and processing operations to the Masson and Fenwick facilities in order to streamline operations and reduce overhead. So as I mentioned, it's not that they had to close Belleville. It's that they didn't need it, and obviously going through a huge downsizing movement, just like the rest of, just like Tesla, just like the rest of the world, heading into a recession. And they're going to be moving it over to Masson and Fenwick, which are two other facilities that they have. So if they don't need it, why bother having it? Just get rid of that extra weight, right? Decommissioning is in progress as of the date of this MD&A, and the company plans to fully exit the facility by late July next month. Trust Beverage Co., licensed for MJ Manufacturing effective October 1st, 2021, will continue to operate their 183,000 square foot of sublease space in that building. And I think it was the old Sears building, somebody said, under their own license at the facility. So again, they have their own license now, which they'll expect to no longer be reporting on Hexo into next year, 2023. So Brantford, they closed this, I believe. Licenses were terminated by the company on November 17th. Yep, operations moved to Masson to reduce costs. So again, look at all that they're doing to reduce costs. And again, it's going to take a couple of months for this, like the employee account that they shed off and Belleville savings, right? We just got hit with the impairment for Belleville. So that was the huge impairment and what attributed to the loss. The building remains for sale as of April 30th. Kirkland Lake, Ontario. So assessing future of Kirkland Lake and business plan. Thus, the facility no longer meets the classification criteria for the sale. So we've got a few other ones. Speed up a little bit here. Those ones aren't really super important. The Good Farm facility was sold during the 3 months ended April 30th, so they sold another one. Vaughan, Ontario is a leased facility that houses MJ Research. Company owns approximately 50,000 square feet in the state of Colorado, so marking its first international property. Management has decided to pursue an unsolicited offer to sell the building with expectation to secure a lease property in the near future. So they're going to be selling the Colorado facility to recoup some of that money. And the facility is classified as held for sale, so it's currently on the market for sale. And they'll be looking at potentially taking a lease spot after that. Atholville, so that's the Zenibus facility. That's 380,000 square foot. So we've got millions of square feet, right? Even after closing Belleville, and that one wasn't cultivation or anything, but Atholville facility is fully licensed until July 19th, 2025. And Stellarton was closed. We know that. Heart goes out to those that were affected by that as well. Anybody that was affected by this downsizing or any company, right? You know, Tesla, Coinbase, tons of people are laying people off, preparing for an upcoming recession. So decommissioning of the facility ended February 28th. Upon closure, the facility has been classified as held for sale. So still held for sale. These are all things that are going to potentially come back as a benefit, right, once they sell. Langley, British Columbia. So yeah, we'll move on. So the company has terminated operations at Langley facility in order to synergize cost savings. Hexo USA. So we believe the US MJ market represents a significant opportunity to create a global company. We've established, and we know that through this Tilray deal, they're going to, anything from international markets, like outside of Canada and the US, Hexo is going to source from Tilray. Anything in Canada and Hexo in US though, Hexo has full game, right? They can do as they please, and they don't have to consult or source anything from Tilray. And that's what Hexo is going to be doing, in my opinion, over the next few years, is dominating. They're number one in Canada as per High Fire data from April, right? What more can we ask for there? And yeah, then they're going to be looking at becoming a number one in the US. They've already got the foundation to do so. We've hit with a lot of our impairments already from the result of Redecan acquisition, and now the impairment from Belleville. And it's going to be about a month before Belleville is finalized, and then a couple quarters before we see those cost savings, right? And the employee downsizing, 450 people that they cut from the payroll. We've established Hexo USA Inc. Hexo USA is a wholly owned US-based entity created to facilitate our expansion into the US hemp market. This is cool. Listen to this. We have also created a second joint business venture, Trust CBD USA. We already know that through Molson Coors, right? Which Molson Coors owns the majority. They have Trust Beverages in Canada, which is reported on Hexo's financials because they have the license until 2023. Trust will get its own license. But then they have Trust CBD USA, which is a different entity. And that's the Veryvel that are sold in liquor stores in the US, right? Across 17 states. And that's all done with hemp, right? So that's with Molson Coors, and Molson Coors owns the majority of that one, and it's a private company. So we don't have any insight into the sales of that yet. Established in Colorado, Trust CBD USA is majority owned by Molson Coors and operates as a standalone entity with its own board of directors, management team, resources, and go-to market strategy. All production from Trust CBD USA will be kept within Colorado state lines, because that's the law, since it is one of the few states that has established a regulatory framework for hemp-derived CBD in food and beverages. Trust CBD USA is now present across select grocery markets within Colorado and has launched products in additional 17 states during Q1 2022. The company's new management is undergoing assessment of the revision of Hexo USA business plan and sales strategy, which includes research, development, and formulation of creating unique cannabinoid cocktails, blends tailored to the specific applications to maximize cannabinoid functionality at high-level margins. I like high-level margins. Bring me more of that. The strategy can be applied to, This strategy can be applied to CBD and minor cannabinoid-based products across both regulated markets and non-regulated markets as we await federal legalization. This includes the formulation and development of cannabinoid beverages, topicals, personal care products, and edibles, gummies, and infused pre-rolls. So that's pretty cool to see. As of the date of this MD&A, the company remains in the process of selling Fort Collins location with the expectation to secure a lease space in the near future. So they go through the financial results. Like I said, 45 million net. We were expecting 52 million net. They had a net loss, negative 0.34 on EPS. Gross margin before adjustments, 22%. So it declined. Not good. Not what we want to see. But again, lots of things due to Belleville and Redecan, right? So we'll move through this a little quicker here. See if there's anything else. I pretty much went through all the financial highlights that I wanted to go through. And if anybody else, if I have missed anything, if anybody can let me know as well, if there's any topics you want to talk about, if there's any concerns or anything that you liked about this report that I haven't mentioned, let me know in the live chat there. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from. All right. Adjusted EBITDA, negative 18.3. We already went over that. So again, negative 0.34 EPS compared to negative 0.17 the prior quarter. So we'll run through this. And essentially, the new CFO is going to be totally revamping the business strategy. They go on to talk about the going concern. But obviously, once the Tilray deal goes through, Tilray deal is going to bring dilution, obviously, but I would say better favorable terms than the monthly redemptions and dilution that were happening. You guys seen how many shares, right, that they added? Common shares, 500 million, right? And if you factor in, Tilray, once they convert the shares and Chaos Capital, Hexo would have a market cap of over like 300 million, I think it was, between 300 and 400 million. But at the moment, I think we're at like 130 million market cap, but that's not factoring in the convertible debt either, right? Because they haven't converted it yet. So pretty much wrapping up the MD&A. That didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I might have missed a couple of things, but I think I hit all the major points. And again, this thing's pretty long, so if you want to go read it on your own time, I'd encourage that. But I want to try to keep this video under an hour, and we're past the 40-minute mark here now. So that's pretty much all I wanted to bring up. Let's just take a look at SPY here. We do have the market opening in about 34 minutes, and SPY is near the high of yesterday. So again, watch 377.94. If we break that, then we start the daily bounce, and we could see some gap filling here at 389 and 401, and that would be great for MJ. Hopefully stop the bleeding in the markets. And we're back up to 22 cents here pre-market. So not too bad. Nice floor being created here just over the 20 cent mark USD. But don't be surprised if we lose 20 cents today. And interest rate decision coming up midday at, like I said, 2 p.m. Eastern time, with the press conference at 2:30 Eastern time. So expect some volatility into the end of the day. Welcome everybody to the stream. So back to the first question here. Hello, Rod. What will happen if Hexo goes below 100 million market cap? Nothing really. Like I said, they already have, if you factor in the debt and everything like that, that's going to be converted after the Tilray deal. Then, the Hexo's market cap would be somewhere around, it's pretty much hidden right now because of that debt hasn't convert, right? But if they did convert, that would increase the shares. It would increase the market cap as well. So I would say it's closer to a 300 million market cap, but I'm not really worried about the market cap. Their current annual sales are more than their market cap. They're going to have access to 282 million, 100 of which will be unrestricted, so immediately available to them after the Tilray deal. And that basically, they'll have basically as much unrestricted cash as their market cap right now, right? But yeah, the reverse split could happen. Again, we'll be watching Sundial. They already got approval to do the reverse split though, right? So the company could get an extension from the NASDAQ and 6 months, just like SNDL got, which would mean that they'd have until January of next year to regain compliance, January 25th. And if they didn't by then they could just do a reverse split. They've already got our approval to do that. So that could happen, but we'll be watching SNDL for a reverse split. Good morning. Sarasota. Nice. Good morning, Rod. Watching from Leamington, Ontario. Right on. Good morning. Do you think there will be another offer of $2 to $3 per share from Tilray? I doubt it. Just because, Hexo's done, the fact that Hexo's market cap is like, 130 million, and they still haven't been acquired through all of this downturn. And, I do think that they issued a poison pill, a type of poison pill with that convertible debt that they agreed to, right? Like, why else would they do that if they were trying to avoid a takeover or something like that? I mean, it worked. And then Tilray offered to buy them out for $2 or $3 a share, and they refused. And that just tells me that they really don't want to let go, right? Like I said, Vincent Chiara owns this Toronto Stock Exchange building. He's a director on the board of directors, and we're talking about people who are like significantly wealthy, right? And they don't care about $2 or $3 a share. They're thinking 20, 30, maybe 200 someday, right? They're in this, this is an upcoming industry, and they're basically boom or bust, right? They don't care about, while most retail investors are looking 10 months out. They're looking 10 years out, right? That's the difference between a retail investor and a savvy institutional investor, or somebody who, who's a multi-millionaire or billionaire. They don't care about, the short-term volatility or the short-term outlook. They're looking 10 years as opposed to 10 months, right? But no, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think they're going to. After all I've seen, they said many times that it's important that HEXO remain standalone and independent. They said that on 3 or 4 different occasions. Somebody even brought up the fact that they might not even be able to merge, like number 1 and number 2, because of the Anti-Competition Act and everything. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, but it might not even go through, right? If they tried to merge. So that's something as well, right? You can't just say, oh, we're merging now, right? You have to go through all these, you have to get approval from all these different regulatory bodies and things like that. Like all this stuff's really complicated, right? And that's why I always kind of chuckle when I see like random retail investors who think they know everything. And it's like, there's a lot of stuff going on here, moving parts and things and factors. And like even people who've been studying the markets for years, like Raoul Pal and, these macroeconomic hedge fund managers for decades that ran companies, admit that they have no idea sometimes, right? They're just going with probabilities and they're preparing for all scenarios, right? So I'm prepared for either scenario. I own both Tilray and HEXO. I was going to buy some more HEXO, but I might hold off because I think it could go a little bit lower than 20 cents now. We might even go to 15 cents if the broader market, I've got enough shares, my bags are packed, but if we do dip under 20 cents, I'll probably buy some more. But I'm not going to rush in. It's going to be another month or so for the Tilray deal to close, and a lot can happen in between there as well. So we'll just take it one step at a time. We'll see when the deal closes next month. If it took them this long, though, to do the deal with Tilray, imagine how long it would take them to merge. And HEXO's still moving stuff from Belleville to Redecan facility and Masson, Quebec, and getting rid of that facility that they don't need. They're still cleaning up the Redecan acquisitions and dealing with all that, synergies and stuff. So I highly doubt it to be anytime soon. I think obviously this increases the odds, the amendment, with Tilray owning about 50% of the company, it wouldn't be that hard for them to buy more shares as well on the open market. At which point, I'm not sure how that would work. Again, we just don't know at this point. But Tilray said that they're in a good position to do nothing, just collect interest, or later on convert to equity and then look at potentially putting the two companies together, right? But they said that they're basically just going to sit tight for the next, I would say, probably 6 months to 12 months before they do anything. And Tilray, kind of still trying to get all its ducks in a row as well. And we know that they're looking into MedMen, right? So there's a lot of moving parts. What do you think of their gross margins? Yeah, I think it was, 22% is what I brought up. Not great. But again, they talked about that in here. During the period, international net revenues decreased 22%. That was international sales. Yeah, gross margin before adjustments, 22%. So the unrealized gain on changes in fair value of biological assets increased 22%. Yada, yada, yada. There was a part in here about it. The company's total non-beverage gross margin before adjustments decreased in the previous quarter due to lower processing volumes, resulting in unfavorable under-absorption rates in the company's Belleville centralized production facility. So again, Belleville coming up in there. The company also utilized certain higher costed stock to satisfy demand across consolidated business, resulting in lower margins. This previous quarter's higher margin was due to the more favorable sales mix of higher margin products, and the non-beverage adult use adjusted gross margin decreased when compared to the comparative period of fiscal 2021 due to the above. So yeah, that's what the company's adjusted international gross margin remained relatively consistent quarter over quarter. There's no excise tax burden, so again, in international sales. But again, right, this is all stems back to this, right? We got this issue in Canada. Like, we've got no vapes in Quebec yet. We don't even really have edibles in Quebec. We can't even get the readies in Quebec. We've got these crazy excise taxes, and limits on drinks. You can only buy 5 drinks at the till. It's like, come on, right? We've been so held back. The industry just is, they've got their arms held behind their back and they're trying to run, and the government's just holding them, holding on for dear life and won't let go. But it's good that we're starting to see business leaders urging the government to review. And we know that the Canadian government's dropping all these mandates and things like that with regards to C-19. And they said that was kind of taking priority, obviously, over the MJ Act review. So that's something that we could see. We know that they're dropping the mandates and stuff like that and the restrictions. So it's entirely possible over the next few months we see that revamped as well into the summer and into the fall. But yeah, gross margins, it's not looking great. Again, I'm not too worried about the earnings for the next couple of quarters, right? Because we know there's not really going to be much of a point, even if we do have great numbers. Like, look at the MSOs who have great numbers, and their share prices are still getting whacked down, right? So it's not really going to matter in this macroeconomic environment. It's not going to matter in this sector environment that we're in. We need the whole sector to reverse, confirm weekly and monthly uptrends, and then we'll start worrying about the financials, right? But even companies with good financials aren't seeing share price appreciation, and if they do, it's not held for very long, right? And then SPY obviously not helping, and the broader market. So risk off for sure, and MJ, it's going to take something like safe banking before we get out of here, right? And then over the next, we know there's 15 new drinks coming out with trusts. We know that the Readies Plus just launched in Ontario. That's just only in Ontario, not even the rest of Canada yet. Again, Quebec doesn't even allow vapes, and edibles are just starting there. They don't even allow the Readies in Quebec yet. So much growth just in Canada. And then, we know that they're looking at expanding in the US as well. And all that stuff, right, is stuff that's going to take years for them to even really benefit from. And we know that the CPG partner could be released any week now, with sales starting, they said, by the end of summer. The first sale to the SQDC by the end of the summer. I don't think there's a call. I didn't see any information. That's something as well. Thanks for reminding me. Power Group member just reminded me that, we didn't see anything about a conference call. So it's probably due, in my opinion, due to the fact that the new CFO and CEO, so Charlie and Julianis, is it? Let's just bring it up, actually. The guy with the last name I can't pronounce. Still getting used to all their names. It's just insane, the amount of changes going on in here. Adam Marviv said he wanted monumental chains. Well, we've certainly got it. Julius. Yeah, I was thinking Julian. Julius. Charlie, these guys are still getting kind of getting their wits about them. Still kind of learning the business. And Joel also, I think I'm saying that. Joel also new. Whole new board of directors. Everybody on there is new except for Vincent. They can't get him out of there, right? He's just too wealthy and almost untouchable. But like I said, he owns the Toronto Stock Exchange building and one of the wealthiest real estate investors in Quebec. And these people aren't playing around, right? But where was I going with that? The call. Yeah, so the call. Maybe they're just not doing it because of the fact that they're still getting situated. They could be waiting as well. Who knows? I'm not sure why there isn't a call this morning, but it's very odd that they didn't say anything as to why there was no call. I definitely agree that we need management to, kind of step up to the plate here and chuck us a bone, because they're not really, it's just odd, right? Like, you see, like, I've done interviews with Canara, and they actually reached out to me, and they were almost, not, I don't want to say desperate, but they couldn't get enough publicity, and they wanted to interact with the community. And it seems like Hexo's management just doesn't care. They're like, no, we know we're going to be awesome and huge. Like, we don't need the extra pumping, and we don't need to calm investors. Like, I just don't understand the management. Hopefully this new management that's coming in, I was really looking forward to hearing from them. The new CEO, the new CFO, like hearing what their demeanor's like, hearing what their enthusiasm is like, and all that stuff. So I was looking forward to that, and I'm not sure why they didn't do the call, but if anybody comes across that, let us know. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're just joining the stream. I got out of MJ positions. Will buy in again in 1 to 2 weeks time. Can't see MJ stocks going up if everything else is going down. Yeah. Personally, I don't know. Like, to me, I've been holding this long. Most MJ's down 80, 90% plus. How much is it really going to drop from here? Even if it does, I don't really care because, it's already, I'm already in a bad position with my MJ investments. But that was money that I wasn't, I was prepared to let sit for many years. I was dollar cost averaging. Granted, it dropped a lot more than anybody thought. I'm pretty sure anybody listening to my voice right now, all MJ has dropped way more than we ever imagined from February 2021. But that's why I own more crypto than I do MJ's, because MJ's in a bear market and crypto's in a bull market. It's in a corrective phase of a bull market, I think. And then, I've got more cash than anything. And I was shorting the S&P 500 as a hedge. So whenever I had those short profits, I would buy more beaten down MJ. I would take the profit from the short on the broader market, the S&P 500 with SPXS, and I would take those profits and buy more beaten down MJ and just dollar cost average, right? I'm pretty much out of short positions on SPY now. I'm starting to look to go long, and I've got mutual funds as well, right? So there's a reason why MJ is the smallest position in all of my investments, is because it's in a bear market and everything else is in a bull market, right? But pretty soon I'm going to be looking to add, I'm going to be selling some of those assets like crypto and looking to, I've got 50% of my net worth in cash. I'm going to be putting more into MJ over time. But like I said, MJ is one of my least amount of, one of the smallest sectors in my portfolio that I have. One thing you could do too, not financial advice, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, just for entertainment purposes only, but you could hedge. If you think the market's going to go down, you could take a similar approach. You could hedge with a short on the broader market. If the rest of the market's going down, again, if you profit with that short, you can use that to dollar cost average into some beaten down MJ. I just can't see, I just don't like trying to time the bottom, right? Nobody can time the bottom, and it's just easier to dollar cost average into something like MJ, like I did with crypto, something that's so volatile that can shoot up, hundreds of percent, especially leading into safe banking, potentially passing. I agree that it's probably not going to do anything for the next couple of weeks, but it could. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night not having exposure this low in the bear market down over 90% versus having money in it. That's kind of where I'm at. And that all has to do with how much money you put in. If you put your life savings in it, or you're struggling to pay rent or whatever your bills because you put too much into MJ, well, that's a whole other lesson and problem in itself. But, everybody's different. Everybody's situation's different. And personally, the money that I put into MJ, I'm down, 5 figures on my MJ position. But again, I know that when I was averaging back in, that this might not be the bottom. I know that when I was buying, when I was averaging back in, that there's a good chance that this isn't the bottom, right? Because I can't time the bottom, right? So I have a plan. I'm shorting the S&P 500. I also have a ton of cash. 50% of my net worth is in cash. So I'm ready to profit from the dip in the broader market, use those profits to buy beaten down MJ and dollar cost average into MJ. And then, over the next couple of years, we're going to see another bull market, in my opinion. And the next time MJ goes in a bull market, I'm pretty sure it's not just going to be one or two companies or a few companies that go to all-time highs. It's going to be pretty much all of MJ, right? Except for the crappy companies. But I would say 80% of MJ in the next bull market, which means weekly and monthly uptrends, I think we're going to be going to all-time highs. Best friend in Leamington. Nice. Yeah, I've never been there. My average is 31 cents, and I'm looking to buy more to lower it more in the meantime. Yep, that's another option as well, right? It's not all bad having these lower prices. I mean, I would even encourage look at some other MJ stocks, right? Because there's so many good deals out there. High Tide's one I like as well. I do my top 5 MJ holdings as well. You can check out that video. But High Tide I really like. Canara Biotech's another great one. There's just so many good deals out there, right? I own LPs, I own MSOs. I have more dollar volume in LPs than I do MSOs though. Yeah, Florida. Okay, nice. Yeah, I was just in Florida in January for pretty much the whole month of January. It was fantastic. I got COVID when I was there and got really sick for a week, but that sucked. But everything else was good. Overall, report as expected. Won't be surprised if it goes slightly green today. Yep. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. The EPS was a silver lining, so something to be a little bit happy with there compared to the last quarter. When will the Fed legalize MJ? Your best guess? I think at some point in 2023 we get the announcement. I think that they're going to pass safe banking probably before 2023, so some point between now and the fall. And then into 2023 we get the announcement of U.S. legalization. And then maybe late 2023 or sometime in 2024 we get full-blown legalization in the U.S. That's what I would anticipate. Best guess. At the latest, I'd say 2025, because like Germany coming online, New York, rec sales coming in the fall. We know Thailand. I think Sweden's doing a trial. Malta, the rest of the EU. I own a lot of Hexo. What are your thoughts on a reverse split? Yeah, we went over that earlier. That was one of the first questions. They already have approval to do a 1 for 14, so they can do a reverse split anywhere up to that amount if they so choose. But we know that they have until July 25th to regain compliance with the NASDAQ. We know that they haven't received an extension yet, so if they do like SNDL did, it would be January 25th. But we know they already have the option to do the reverse split. So best case scenario for Hexo is they announce the CPG partner, they get their first sales from the CPG partner into Quebec, and then that new edible category that they're working on with the new CPG partner. And then they might even announce the special purpose vehicle into California with the readies and the gel caps, and then couple that with any kind of positive safe banking news. We could easily see, in the Tilray deal closing, we could easily see Hexo at a couple dollars again, in my opinion, if that all happened into the fall, right? So again, it's hard to say what's going to happen with the reverse split. Again, SNDL already got its extension after getting its notice, so it has until August to regain compliance, and they have a meeting in July to do a reverse split. So we'll kind of be watching Sundial as a gauge, right? And if Sundial reverse splits, that increases the odds that Hexo does. But again, Hexo could get another extension until January, and then we could see safe banking, and then they could get back over $1, right? That could happen. So I think reverse splits kind of out of sight, out of mind right now. We don't really have to worry about it too much. Texas, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of people, like I said in my video analytics, a lot of people from the States. Do you think they will seek an extension for 6 months bypassing a reverse split for a while like SNDL did? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Like I said, they already have approval though from a previous vote and proxy to do a reverse split all the way up to 14 for 1, right? 1 for 14. So they could reverse split any time realistically. But yeah, they could get the extension as well. Hexo down to 20 cents. Yeah, I was at that earlier before I started the stream. It's at 21 cents I see on, I just refreshed it, it says 21 cents. But yeah, I mean, not great. But again, we know that they're still sorting through the Redecan stuff, right? They closed Belleville, and they're moving that stuff over to a Redecan facility and Masson, the Hexo Quebec facility. So they're still sorting out the stuff with the acquisitions from Redecan, let alone the Tilray stuff. Right, so and they just let go a bunch of employees, and the number of employees, they had almost 1,300 employees in last year, and that's probably down under 1,000. Right, they said they cut 450 jobs, so it's going to take a couple of quarters before we see benefits and cost savings from all these facilities that they're closing, right, because of the mergers and acquisitions. We don't need it anymore, but yeah, 21 cents. So. These impairment charges, and the impairment charges that we got hit with this quarter was from the Belleville facility, right? All the other ones were from Redecan, right? And this is all stuff we need to, you can't just raise $1 billion and buy a company for $1 billion and, $400 million in cash and $365 million in convertible notes, and then the rest was in stock, right? But you can't just raise $500 million and not have some impairment charges or some financial woes over the next couple of quarters, which we were preparing for this a year ago, right? When they announced that Redecan deal, we were all saying, a couple of people, in our group and stuff, we were all thinking that maybe, Redecan was going to lift us up to like 70 million. I mean, the sales haven't been that great, but we already know why they haven't been that great. It's because they can't meet demand. They're only meeting 60-70% of customer demand at the moment. Sales probably would have been up around that 70 million area combined, but they're only meeting 60% of the demand, right? So they're investing in more machines to meet those pre-roll and flower. And all the acquisitions with Redecan and Zenabis were exactly that. All the new premium flower, like the Ultra Sour and everything's all coming from Zenabis, Cold Creek Kush and everything like that from Redecan, right? And tons of great strains coming out of those acquisitions. MJ won't recover in years, in my opinion. I don't know about that. Like I said, it's down over 95. Some names down over 95%, in the 90% percentile. I mean, how much is it really going to drop? Is it realistic to think we're going to stay low for years? I don't know. Again, it could happen. Nothing's a guarantee. The only guarantee is there's no guarantees. Is that just the most likely scenario? Probably not, especially not when Germany and Thailand and all these other countries are legalizing. And, we've been legal now for almost 4 years in Canada. Mexico is looking at doing it as well, right? So I think it's going to be a lot sooner than people think, but anything can happen. I'm prepared for both scenarios. I'm just waiting for legalization in Germany. Yep, I mean, it's going to take a while, right? They're going to have their growing pains too, but at least they got a bit of a blueprint to go off of as well, looking at their Canadian neighbors. And that's the thing too, right? Like all these LPs are now working under regulatory framework for almost 4 years. And a lot of the MSOs and other companies in other countries aren't used to working underneath a regulatory framework that is legal, right? So these are all, a lot of the MSOs are going to have all these CapEx requirements as well, capital expenditures, to expand across the rest of the nation, to expand in international markets. I saw CEO of Cureleaf was tweeting stuff out saying he was bullish on Germany and stuff. So that's obviously going to be stuff that they have to invest in as well, right? But yeah, Germany's going to be huge for the EU. Sell Hexo for a big loss or hold on. Well, I can't tell you to buy, sell, or hold. This is for entertainment purposes only. But what I'm doing is I'm holding, and I may add a little bit more Hexo if we drop below 20 cents. I was going to add if we hit 20 cents, but now I might wait for a little bit more than that, maybe 18 cents, maybe closer to 15 cents. We'll see. This Tilray deal is still not due to close for another month, and yeah, these financials were less than awesome, that's for sure. So, but again, in the next few quarters, right, things could really start to trend in the proper direction, and we'll see what this new management can do. But man, do we ever need some good management to come in, right? Like what a terrible, ever since SSL left, it's been a complete gong show. Not that he didn't have some issues as well, but I mean, he was far better than anything else we had. He just kind of, it was the market conditions, right? The whole MJ market just kind of, cratered, and then the rest of the market, right? The broader market now in a bear market, crypto in a bear market, tech stocks, everything, real estate getting hit, recession on the horizon. It was just complete terrible timing, right, for the company. And again, not making up excuses. There's a lot of things that they did that they could have done better, I'm sure. But there's also a lot of things that we might not even know, right? Maybe it was a poison pill, a type of poison pill. And they still have avoided a hostile takeover to this point, right? Even Tilray still just barely getting up to 50% ownership now with the deal if they converted their debt. So, and that comes after Hexo refused the offer in November for $2 or $3 a share. But I'm personally holding on to Hexo. I also own Tilray as well. I also own lots of other LPs. High Tide, I own Canara Biotech. There's a bunch that I own. Again, lots of MSOs as well. So I'm going to be looking at adding some MSOs and some other licensed producers and adding to some ETFs as well. I have a lot. Hexo's my biggest position, and I'm not saying there's not any concerns, right? But I'm seeing a path forward, obviously. And with the Tilray deal, Hexo will be fine for multiple years, and they'll move to shape the industry together, right? I'm not selling, but I am looking to diversify my MJ portfolio a little bit. I want to add more than just Hexo. I want to start adding more to MJ, American MJ, because like I said, it's safe banking. We're going to see a huge run up into that, and the MSOs will explode too, right? So you don't want to just be focusing on one MJ stock, in my opinion. That's what I'm doing. Not telling you what to do, but that's what I'm doing. I suppose we have no choice but to hold now. Yeah, basically basically my thought process. Do you think it's going to be 75 cents or 50 cents rate today by the Fed? Well, the whole market's pretty much priced in a high rate anyway. So if it comes in at 50, 0.5%, then great. That's going to be perceived as bullish because the market, I think, is already preparing for the worst. So I have no idea what they're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually come in lower than anticipated and said that there was some sort of improvement. But we'll see. If it does come in at 0.75 or whatever it comes in at, if it comes in higher than what was expected, I do think that the market's pretty much pricing it in at this point. Canada's monthly MJ sales have been climbing consistently month over month. If the country as a whole sales are climbing, who are selling all this MJ? Smaller producers? Yep. And, a lot of private companies, not even public companies, right? So there's a lot of private companies. There's over 800 producers in Canada, right? So the top 10, if Hexo has 10% market share, and there's over 800 producers in the country, well, that's a pretty big market share given the amount of producers, right? We don't need 800 producers. And that's why leading into a recession, I think people are going to be giving up the $200 ounces, and they're going to probably go, like, you can get a king pack, so 70 Redecan Readies pre-rolls for $92 here in Alberta with tax, right? And if you buy Ogen, which is a craft grower here, it's really, really good stuff, craft stuff, but it's like $200 and some after tax, right? I mean, you can buy 2 ounces of pre-rolls, so 140 joints for less than 1 ounce of non-pre-roll, just regular bud, right? So I think they're going to claw back a lot. A lot of the smaller producers are going to go bankrupt because we just don't need 800, especially now with Tilray teaming up with Hexo. Like, good luck rest of Canada, right? Number 2 and number 1 working together. How do you think that's going to, fare out for the small producers, right? Even Neptune was kind of a bigger producer, and they're getting out of MJ entirely. So they're completely pivoting. So there's going to be a lot that go bankrupt and just completely get annihilated and can't keep up with the increased competition and insane competition. And then there's going to be a lot that just pivot and go off into other areas, in my opinion. But yeah, that's definitely why. COVID lockdowns have been disastrous for MJ. Yeah, exactly. And like in Quebec, you couldn't even go in an MJ store unless you were vaccinated or something like that, I'm pretty sure. So things should start to improve. Excise taxes are being evaluated. They're also looking at lowering the amount of drinks that you can purchase at once, right? Since tourism is now picking up in Canada post-COVID, how might that impact MJ sales? Your thoughts? Absolutely, yeah, definitely would think that a lot of people coming here to visit, and they haven't been, especially summertime now, and we know that mandates are ending in Canada. If you take a look at some of the Fed mandates, they've been dropping the restrictions and things like that. So now that there's not really any restrictions, no safety concerns and health concerns from the C-19 stuff, then yeah, tourism will certainly pick up. And when people come here, I think that Hexo's got some of the most exciting products. And like I said, there's a lot of people tuning in. Look at where people are tuning in from. Let me know where you're tuning in from, everybody. if you're just joining the stream or if you're late to the stream. But a lot of people in my channel are watching from the US. I look at my back end analytics, and there's pretty much like half the people, if not 50% of the people watching my videos are from the US, and they can't wait to try HEXO products. So I would think that, yeah, a lot of people might take the trip up to Canada now that it's a little safer and mandates are dropping and things like that. And then, yeah, they can try all those MJ infused beverages and the Redican Readies and things like that, right? But yeah, that's a great point. Valerie Malone, Chief Commercial Officer, left in less than a year. Yeah, I think I was just thinking that earlier. Actually, I forgot to mention. Yeah, it looks like she's gone too, isn't she? She didn't seem too. Yeah, I got a weird vibe from her on one of the conference calls, but management does completely look different. You got to give them that. Mark Adanasio, we got, yeah, like a whole new shakeup, right? We got Pete Montour, Will Montour, Rob Godfrey. We've got Charlie, Julius, and Joel coming in now. Guillaume as the culture department. But yeah, we've got some heavy hitters here in Julius and Charlie. So again, I was looking forward to seeing a call with them, but they didn't say anything about the call on the on this press release, which is odd. But again, maybe just because they're still getting their wits about them, still learning the business, they're not doing a call, or maybe they're delaying it a little bit. We also know that the CPG partner could be released soon, and they said they're going to be releasing the product portfolio. It's more than cookies, it's more than granola bars, it's other products as well in functional foods. So maybe they're waiting. We also know that they haven't done a corporate presentation update in a long time. So maybe they're getting all that ready to go, because this last one was pretty bad, and it wasn't updated for a long time now. Hexo's Q1, back in Q1. So again, and they mention here that they're working with leading CPG players, keyword players. Like I said, some amazing products that people are just dying to try from the US, right? You have to remember, like, even if you're from Canada, like, just think about how come look at all the American people watching my video that haven't even tried HEXO products yet. Why are they on a live stream now after an hour and 17 minutes? You can see where people are tuning in from. But again, in my back office, in the back end, in the YouTube studio, I can see, half the viewers are from US pretty much, right? So if they haven't even tried HEXO products yet, what does that say about the amount of brands and product portfolio that they have, right? Like, there's so much demand, pent up demand, and they can't even buy it yet. And like I said, they can't even meet 60 to 70% of the demand in Canada, right? So there's a lot of growth and opportunity still coming. And again, why does Tilray want a piece of HEXO so bad? Why did they try to buy them in November and HEXO refused? Why are they trying to get 50% ownership now? Why is Chaos being so friendly? Why is High Trail HDI Investments dropping all their clauses and things like that? And who else? Redican, right? Redican wanted to go with HEXO. They turned down another offer for $1.4 billion to go with HEXO, right? So again, like, if HEXO truly is failing and on the brink of, failure, and it's going away, it's going to zero, well, why is Tilray trying to get involved for the last year, almost probably over a year or close to a year now, and in talks with them? Like, Tilray said that they were contacting HEXO for months and months and months. And now they're trying to partner with them. We know that a new CPG partner is going to be signed soon. So what is it? Kellogg's, who we don't know yet. That's what my speculation is. So again, another person that, another company that wants to be in on the HEXO story, right? So why, again, this just doesn't have the signs of a company that's failing, in my opinion. California, yeah, exactly, represent. So yeah, we got some Californians in the house. We got some Floridians. We've got some Texans. Is it Texans? Yeah, Texans. I wouldn't be surprised if we had more people in the U.S. in here after an hour than we do Canadians, right? And that's saying something. Like, again, like, we got to stop thinking more emotionally and just think, like, what's really going on behind the scenes here? Like, why is Tilray doing all this? Why is Like, why are so many, why is Hexo get so many views? Why is there so much engagement in Hexo? Why is every other video that I do, a live stream on any other MJ company, barely gets anybody commenting on the videos? And how come 50% of the people are from the US that are in the chat? And, and they haven't even tried Hexo products yet. Like, how many other companies or YouTube channels or people do you know that are looking into other companies? Like, I don't see anybody jumping on TrueLeaf that are huge TrueLeaf fans from Canada that can't wait to try TrueLeaf, or I don't see a bunch of US people jumping on to learn about Canopy or Tilray, right? They don't care about them really at all. The people from the US are, I would say, mostly focused on Hexo, and the amount of engagement and interest and just overall, there's just so many people that can't wait to try Hexo, right? It's just the amount of enthusiastic people, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. Still early and a little tired, but yeah, I mean, it's evident that Hexo truly is an amazing company. The products are amazing. It's just they need to figure out this management stuff, get through these mergers and acquisitions, these impairments, and like I said, there could even be. I mentioned like months ago that there could be another raise, and then the ATM came, right, to get them by since the Tilray deal got delayed until July instead of May, so they needed the at the market offering to pay the debt redemptions because the deal hadn't gone through. They needed to pay those debt redemptions from High Trail, right? So there's so much that's gonna come after the Tilray deal. They're not going to have to worry about those terrible terms and diluting every single month. There's going to be dilution, obviously, from the Tilray deal, but hopefully Tilray won't, go dropping, converting that all and selling it all or anything like that, right? California, welcome. What happened to flour? FLOWR? I'm not sure. Not sure what you're referring to. Hello from Russia. Stop war. Absolutely. Yeah, let's everybody get along. I'm actually surprised that it's even happening in this day and age. I thought we were better than that. War is no good for anybody. But welcome from Russia. I think you were on the stream yesterday. Was it yesterday? But yeah, definitely the first person tuning in from Russia that I've seen. Probably not the first, but the first person that's told me they were from Russia. CPG partner will be announced in the coming weeks. That was, a year ago at this point? That was on the 28th of April. But keep in mind, right, what happened? Tilray deal got delayed 2 months. It was supposed to close in May. Now it's getting closed in July. Got to get Tilray positioned first before they announce the CPG partner, right? We can't have non-manipulated markets. That would just be a shame, right, if the market wasn't rigged. So gotta keep those unfair and unorderly markets, right? Manipulation is the name of the game as per the market makers. So 28th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're coming on. Tomorrow will be 7 weeks. They said in the coming weeks. They probably should have said months because the Tilray deal got delayed. So they're probably finalizing all that stuff, dealing with all the legal stuff, and then they'll announce again. It doesn't really matter if they announce the CPG partner. They said that the first sale to SQDC Quebec for the first edible won't be until like sometime between now and the end of summer. So even if they announce it now, I think it'd be stupid to announce it now, honestly, because the market's terrible at the moment. And actually, the bell just rang. We'll take a look at the market here. But why would they release it now when the market's in turmoil? That'd be stupid. They've waited this long. I'd almost be like super upset if they did that. But wait until like safe banking or something comes out, maybe in the next couple months. We know that, Chuck Schumer should have something with his bill here in August as well. So things could start to heat up into July, August. So SPY almost breaking the high of yesterday. Double top perfectly to the penny so far. So if we do get a break of 377.94, watch those gaps, 389.401. That'll be some nice instead of headwinds, we'll get some tailwinds into Hexo. Hexo, 21 cents essentially. Basically hitting my target here of 20 cents. We are piercing through this But we are starting to climb out of daily oversold territory, so we're dropping to lower lows. So a little bit of bullish RSI divergence here, with lower lows on the lower highs and lower lows on the price action, higher lows and higher highs here on the RSIs. But again, like not terrible, right? We're only down 5%. Fire and Flower getting destroyed. It just reported earnings as well. High Tide, like I said, had some really good earnings, but again, this is an example of, even though they had great earnings, you know, their revenue and whatnot, they're down currently over 2.5%. But even in the last, you know, few months, seeing tons of people getting humbled by this one as well, right? They're like, oh, High Tide's amazing, right? Don't bother, you know, they're the only one worth owning, retailers all the way. And then even down 87%, right? So all MJ down 80, 90%, doesn't matter if they have good financials or not. The whole sector is trending lower in the broader market. That's just going to be par for the course. CGC, Cron. So we've got some of our tier 1 names starting to do a little bit better here today. Daily inside bars. So we'll be watching the tightening range. But again, CGC breaking the high of yesterday, so starting the daily bounce. No resistance till 433, so about $1 away. Almost $1 away. But yeah, we're not holding up too bad. How many people thought we were going to wake up this morning and be down like 20%? So again, we're starting to see, you know, kind of hit a floor here. We're not really seeing much follow through to the downside, right? Look at these weekly candles. We're not really dropping, trying to kind of form a base of support here. We had some bear flags that followed through. And we are starting to climb up a little bit here on the RSIs as well. But again, even if earnings would have been amazing, just like High Tide, right? It's still down today. And it was still down yesterday. So it doesn't matter. The whole sector's bearish, then it's not going to matter. We need the whole sector, both American, Canadian, retailers, and ETFs to confirm uptrends. Ohio, Alabama. Wow. Maybe we're over 50%. And yeah, all my my American bros and gals, like, are you guys? I'm pretty sure like 100% of my audience is male. I'm not sure if that has changed, but the last time I checked, it's at 100% male. But yeah, maybe there's even more. Let me know if you've tried Hexo products. Curious to, I would assume not, unless you visited here, right? Unless you went and tried the Very Well with Trust CBD USA, which is the, they sell in liquor stores and grocery stores. That's cool though, very cool. Welcome friends south of the border. Yes, you bet, absolutely. Most significantly, the company last night formally withdrew its financial guidance from both fiscal. Yeah, we went over that as well. Not uncommon. Pretty much all MJ stopped giving guidance. And yeah, we probably shouldn't be feeding people with false hopes and all this stuff, right? After Hexo's track record, I think they just need to kind of put a pin in it. Maybe just keep quiet and start, look what happened when they said the CVG partner, and everything's just been super delayed, right? Even the Tilray deal is supposed to close in May, and now it's July. Like, you should have just not said anything, right? So yeah, don't give any guidance. Just stop trying to polish a turd. All MJ right now is turds, right? Even the ones with good financials are turds in terms of price, right? Price is just absolutely in the dumps all across the sector. And yeah, just stop telling us stuff and just do it. We don't need to be told and filled with all this hope and hopium and stuff. It's just like, stop telling us what you're going to do and go do it. And your actions will speak louder than words. Rolling some of the OS 130 for the cause. Nice. Yeah, I've got the Redican Reddies. That's what I've been on to. These are amazing. Look at these straight edge pre-rolls. Let's bring up the big camera here. So they got the new Hexo ones now, Ultra Sour and Gelato. They, instead of Redican at the end, it's got Hexo and they're blue tips. And you can see the resin just coming right through. Look at it on the, see those dots? This is the WAPA, $92 for an ounce. 70 of these for $92, and they've got 0.4 Gs in each one, so almost half gram. It's like perfect now. It used to be 0.35 grams, and now it's 0.4 grams. It's like the perfect individual smoke. You can give them away. There's 10 in a pack. Pack's only $16, and then here in Alberta, with tax, it's $92 for 70 of them. But that same thing in Ontario costs $139 or $135 plus tax. So you're looking at like $150 essentially. Whereas here it's $92. It's insane. They need to up the prices too. That's another thing, right? They need to start charging more. Like you don't need to be like, I'd easily pay $120 for these. You don't need to charge me $92. Thanks though. Like let's just make some money here, right? We don't need to be like Amazon selling the Echo Dot thing or whatever. They were selling it at a loss just to beat out the competition. But yeah, these are fantastic. And like it's just so convenient, right? Like you don't have to roll anything. They're perfectly rolled and burns perfectly. You don't have to relight it every time you light it once. It's like a cigarette. It's amazing. Best product on the market by far. You even got Oxley copying them now with their straight edge pre-rolls. Oxley's doing the same thing, copying Hexo. And they're not nearly as good as the Hexo ones. The MJ was good, but Rod, are you our Canada connection for info? Rod, you are our Canada connection for info. Okay, yeah, you bet. Thanks for the USA. Thanks from the USA. Much appreciated. Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for always being on the stream. I see you on here quite often. Over an hour and a half now, so going to wrap it up. We're still over 30 people after an hour and a half. And like I said, majority are from the US and haven't even tried Hexo products yet, so that's pretty astonishing if you ask me. Have not tried it, but can't wait until legalization. There you go, right? It's just like again, it's like what this is all stuff people overlook, and like this is kind of the most important thing. Like imagine the amount of demand and just opportunity and growth for Hexo once the US opens up, right? There's clearly over 50% of people here from the US and haven't even tried it yet, so this is all stuff that really matters to me, right? It's like it's obvious that Hexo is going to be a massive, like all Hexo needs to do is just survive till US legalization. And it's like, wow, game over, global domination. You think shipping costs and gas hurt revenue? Yeah, potentially. Potentially. I think more the lower names, the smaller caps too. But again, unable to meet demand. They mentioned, Belleville, obviously. Gross margins were down. But sales in April started to pick back up, and Hexo's number one. So that's good to start to see that they're trending higher. So we'll see how that trend continues over the next couple of months. Amateur hour is over soon. Let's see if we go green in 16 minutes. Yeah. See where we're at here one more time. So we're down to 20.3 cents. But like I said, all things considered, not doing too bad. All right, going to wrap it up there. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in on another episode of Pursuit of Wealth. And if you could, smash the like one more time on your way out. Help support me in the channel. And tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future videos. So it'll be an interesting day. Like I said, just as a reminder, we do have the FOMC, so the Fed meeting coming up at 2 p.m. is the interest rate decision. And then at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the press conference. So watch for some volatility leading into that. Best of luck out there today. And if you are viewing this video after the fact, let me know in the comments if there's anything else that I didn't mention in this video that you wanted to bring up or discuss, or if you agree with me, disagree with me. Always encourage thoughtful discourse and love hearing what everybody has to say. And seeing tons of engagement and comments lately, and it's great to see that a lot of people are still interested. Kudos to you if you're still listening as well after an hour and a half. And like I said, most people from the US haven't even tried Hexo products yet. Really says a lot. All right, going to end it there. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rob with Power Group. We'll see you in the next video.